Safe to say just about everybody in New Orleans was affected by water in some way or another. But one community was flooded by something else, something much worse and certainly more toxic. And with all the recovery money that's floating around, all the promises to help folks clean up and move forward, remember those promises? Well, you might be surprised, as surprised as we were by what Rick Sanchez found. Tonight, we're keeping him honest.
This is oil, or what's left of 1.1 million gallons of crude oil. How it got here isn't the question, but who's supposed to clean it up is, to say the least, one huge, sticky mess. These are the Lewises.
Some things are just hard to go away.
We asked your neighbors, are they coming back? Most of them tell you. Everybody says they don't know.
When he and his wife could finally get home after Hurricane Katrina, their house was inundated with oil. The Lewises are one of about 2,000 families who live in the Chalmette community of St. Bernard Parish. So many of them are stuck in this mess. After Katrina, more than 1 million gallons of the thick black crude leaked from a nearby petroleum refinery owned by Murphy Oil. Oil companies normally fill storage tanks before a hurricane hits to weigh them down. But one at the Murphy refinery was 3/4 empty. And when the floodwaters rose, it was literally lifted from its foundation. Result, a massive spill.
Who's looking out for these people?
Well, there's multiple agencies, but most importantly is the local authorities.
Local authorities? Tell that to St. Bernard Parish Council Chair Joey DeFata, and you'll get an earful.
I laugh at that. How can the federal agency who's tasked with securing safety for the public say something like that?
You could still see the smudge lines which illustrate the scale of this mess. We're now in the building that actually houses the agency that monitors toxic substances. And in each one of these books, there's a toxicological profile for a different chemical. What we want to know is this spill being cleaned up effectively? What's in crude oil that could cause problems, health risks for the people in that community?
Potentially, you have benzenes and you have compounds known as polyaromatic hydrocarbons.
Hazardous chemicals familiar to government experts and to Murphy Oil, which is responsible for the cleanup, but not to people like the Lewises.
They had no effects yet and been doing it for about a month now.
Environmentalists say residents need to be told more.
It puts all the burden on the person to actually really look for the information. You have to go to the EPA website.
The local council and residents feel confused. The Centers for Disease Control said in November that people should stay away from their homes until they were cleaned of oil. In December, the CDC issued a report analyzing samples from more than 800 homes and concluded they did not contain dangerous level of oil-based contaminants.
What are you telling the public right now?
We're telling the public right now that there is, in some locations near the Murphy Oil refinery, areas that have contamination that could potentially be of a health concern and need to be cleaned up before people reoccupy their homes.
I have a letter here that Murphy has sent to St. Bernard. It's addressed to St. Bernard residents. And it says that we're nearing completion of the cleanup. Those are the words that they use. Are they near completion?
I would rather not speculate on how near they are at completion.
In October, Murphy Oil's president sent this letter to residents stating that, quote, nearly all of the oil spilled has now been recovered or evaporated. But the company acknowledged it had more work to do for homeowners.
Well, this is the family room, and as you can see, most of this stuff here is covered in oil.
Murphy Oil is digging up topsoil and power washing everything else, including people's walls. But they're leaving it up to residents to throw out their own belongings like furniture and clothes. Jimmy Licciardi says he's not going to do it.
So why would I go spend money on something that Murphy or nobody can tell me in 6 months it's going to be safe?
Federal agencies insist that Chalmette spill can be cleaned up, and they expect the Murphy Oil Company will complete the job. Murphy Oil says it will get the job done. The EPA says that given the circumstances, the process is going well. But residents want both to know the toll it's taking on them. And as for those cleaning their community, they want to be sure the feds are keeping them honest. Rick Sanchez, CNN, New Orleans.
You wouldn't think the darkness of a coal mine would be a good place to use a still camera.